Hello there, it's Sarah from Paper Lovely. Thanks for joining me today. So I am going to be creating a Christmas tag flip featuring the Merry Days collection by Crate Paper. But before I get started, I just want to give a little bit of a disclaimer. If you are my tag flip partner on SwapBot and you want to be surprised, stop watching now because this is the tag flip that I will be mailing out to you hopefully tomorrow if I can get it all packaged up. But anyways, into the process video here, I wanted to create a little bit of a scene on one of my tags. So here I'm using just some regular Neenah cardstock, and I've got my Tim Holtz stencil there. That's the brick pattern. I'll have that linked for you. I can't think of the exact name right now. I used a little bit of Lawn Fawn Hippo ink and mixed that in with my Ranger texture paste and just ran that over my stencil there. Here I'm using the Mama Elephant Meowie Woofsmith stamp set. This is really cute. I got it last year and I love it because the die that cuts out the door actually creates a little bit of a hinge, so you can open the door and continue a little scene on the inside or just place a sentiment like I'm going to do here. So I've stamped everything out in Lawn Fawn Hippo ink, and there I've added a little bit of 1/4 inch or 1/8 of an inch score tape behind the door. I'm going to line up that sentiment and just try and get that as centered as best as I can, and then trim that out. And while I'm doing all of this, my texture paste is drying off to the side. So now that that's ready to go, I'm going to go ahead and trim this down. And I left that to just about the full size. I wanted to have a nice big tag for the back of my flip. Because I used the texture paste, that's going to warp my paper just slightly. So I'm going to go ahead and add score tape all along the back of that. And then I'm going to place this down here on one of the Merry Days pattern papers. And that'll give me a nice tight stick, and that'll help to stop just that little bit of warping that was happening on my brick paper there. I will then go ahead and trim that out just to make sure all my edges are nice and even. And then I'm going to place my scene together. So I'm adding a little bit of score tape behind all of these elements. Since they're going to have that textured background, I want to make sure this is going to get a nice tight stick. So I've added that behind my stair steps, and then I'll add several pieces behind my door. And I'll go ahead and place that down. And then finally I'm going to add a little piece of the 1/2 inch score tape behind the flower pot, and then I'll add just a few little strips of the 1/8 of an inch score tape behind the plant. Next, I'm going to turn this into a tag. So what I'm doing is trimming off one corner, then I'll flip that over, cut off the other corner, and that way I know I will have matching edges. I did go ahead and use my Crop-A-Dile to punch a hole there, and I'm using the We Are Memory Keepers. I'm not sure what the name of that is, but it's the hole reinforcer punch, I guess is probably what it's called. And I've gone ahead and just cut those out and added them down with some art glitter glue. I'm going to use the back of this tag to place my letter to the recipient. So I'm using my mini envelope punch board, and I'm going to create, I think I ended up going with a 3x4 envelope. And I'll go ahead and just score everything and place that together and get it all ready for my note. Here I'm using some little mini Velcro dots. I'm loving these lately. I'm also using them on my pouches to store my die sets that I've been getting from Spellbinders. I will give you guys a quick look at that in one of my next videos. So I had added a gold doily, but the gold didn't match quite right, so I decided to take that off. And then I thought I'd mimic a little bit of snow and add some white acrylic paint, and I'm just spreading that around with my finger. I added some score tape to the back of that envelope and then placed that down. Here I'm adding some snow to my scene, so I've got my art glitter glue, and then this is the Ranger glitter. I think it's also Tim Holtz. It's called Clear Rock Candy, and it's gorgeous. When it dries, it just leaves this beautiful sparkle behind. I really wanted to just keep going with this, but I had to at some point make myself stop. So I did go ahead and add a little bit more on the top of that door. I tried to keep it where I thought snow would naturally fall. And then because I also wanted some snowflakes, I'm grabbing these snowflakes that I picked up at Target, and they had these last year as well. And I'm just going to use my pin to go ahead and pick those up, and I'll place a few falling snowflakes all over my scene. Okay, so at this point I am going to go ahead and turn up the music and let you enjoy the rest of the process video. I'm just selecting the papers that I want to use, and I'll create my tags and then decorate those. So I will be back at the end to do a final walkthrough of the finished project. Okay, so here is a final flip through of the finished tag. I've kept this in real-time speed, so it's a little slow compared to the last several clips, but I wanted you to be able to get a really nice good look at everything. So I've added some trim there. The gold leaf and the peachy ruffle is from Hobby Lobby. The green felt is from Target. I started off with that little piece of ephemera that says Merry Christmas, and then I've got my first layered tag. I loved that pattern paper. It was probably my favorite of the collection. This stamp that I used on the back is from Ellen Hudson. It's called Santa's Flight, and it's one of the cutest tag stamps that I have, so I decided to use that on the back of all 4 that I finished that way. This next tag that I made out of the paper bag, I've just created a little cluster of houses and then added that It's a Wonderful Life at the bottom. Off camera, I decided it needed a little more sparkle, so I did go ahead and add some glitter washi along the bottom. Inside the bag, I'm sharing a few extra tags. My recipient in her profile said that she likes cacti, so I had picked these up at the end of season last year at Hobby Lobby, and I hadn't used any of them yet, so I pulled out 3 of each and added those in there to share. And then I also added 3 of the glitter cardstock pieces that came in the Merry Days tag set this year. And then I added that little sticker, Merry Christmas, at the bottom. I always like to add in different size tags and different textures. This is a metal tag that I picked up last year at Target, and I thought the blue printing matched the blue in this collection really well. For my next tag, I layered a doily with a piece of ephemera and then added that Santa chipboard on top. And then again, I finished off the back with that same Santa's Flight stamp and added a piece of ephemera. Next, I added this craft envelope. I left this fairly plain as well. I love the look of just the craft envelope with the Santa stamp on it. I then closed that using some Velcro dots so that she can reuse this if she'd like to. And on the inside, I added one of my hand-stitched journals, and to decorate the front, I added that Dear Santa piece of ephemera. I did go ahead and use one of my eyelets on this, so since the envelope was kind of thin and I was afraid it might rip off. For this next tag, off camera, I added that gold paper clip. I thought it needed just a little something more. And once again, I layered a piece of ephemera with a piece of a doily and added a chipboard on top of that. And then finished off the back here with that same stamp and another piece of ephemera. I added these skates hanging over the top of the tag here. And then again layered some ephemera with a piece of chipboard, and I did also add that Fa La La sticker. That's one of the puffy stickers from the Merry Days collection. And again finished off the back with that Santa's Flight stamp. This is my final tag, first I guess and final tag. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. I love the sparkle that I got. I think that door is so much fun to open and close, and the texture of the brick on the background is really, really fun. So I think I will probably make some cards with this year as well. Finally, I finished off with that gold and green washi. My partner said she really likes green, so I thought that would be a perfect finish. And then just for a little something extra, I created this rosette. I went ahead and packaged that up off camera. And then here I'm giving you a little sneaky peek. I created this second rosette, and that is going to be part of my holiday giveaway this year. So I hope to have that up for you early next week. I'm just finishing off a few other handmade things that I want to add in there. So stay tuned and make sure that you leave me a comment below that video once I have it up so you can be entered to win. Here are a few close-ups of the finished project. In the description box below, you'll find my blog post, which has additional photos and links to the supplies I used. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a comment or a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.